We're finding there are a lot more inquiries now than there were 6 months ago. The fact is the macro market is changing. And there's a graph that I'm going to show you a little bit later. We were around here when it came to the pandemic, COVID lockdowns, everything slowed down. And what we saw after that was all this inflation that comes into the system. Inflation goes up, up, up. And then once we're finally here, they go, oh shit, we better start increasing interest rates because inflation's a problem. Just know that the media will like to complicate things. They might want to focus on one metric at a time.
As you know, we outgrew our office 2 months ago, so we've upgraded and the place was looking a bit bare, so we thought we'll zhuzh it up with some great reviews. There's about 40 here. We've got over 175 reviews online, but we just thought we'd capture a few and hopefully we'll fill up the walls in here. From here, we've decided to put a search property logo, just brightens up the place, everyone knows where we're located.
And it looks good. You look so good in frame there, in that shot that you were doing.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, the shot that Joe had.
All right, which leads me to our foyer area. So
it looks so bare.
yeah. So this is not what it usually looks like. We've had quite a few couches and a sitting area for our clients when they come in for in-person meetings. But we're actually prepping for a meet and strategize session with Ravi Sharma, which is exciting for tomorrow. So we've cleared the space. We've got 1 day left, so we're just gonna organize the furniture and zhuzh it up for our clients for this exciting seminar.
Is that an adjective, zhuzh? It's interesting.
Yeah.
Very vocab, hashtag.
I know.
So tell us, like, where's everything going? So obviously we've got this over here. I can be the dummy.
Yeah. So it's a big office. It can be confusing if you haven't been here before. So we're going to have a few staff members at different checkpoints just to welcome clients in, which is exciting. One of the checkpoints would be our little reception area, just so we can mark off our clients who come in.
Give me your best impression of a receptionist.
Hello, Harry. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Fantastic to me. I almost knocked over the table. I'm not. This is not my role. I'd be atrocious at it.
But yeah, just behind you, Joe, we're going to set up about 40 chairs. So once everyone logs off tomorrow, we're going to set up each chair right in front of the TV, and we've got a bar with a waiter and a bartender, and amazing food coming along as well. So it'll be great to mingle, get to know our clients, and they get to know us and see exactly what we do here. And we're excited for a great night.
And all the chairs will be along here. This TV console, I guess, is going to come out. We'll have Ravi, and you'll have the content capturing it, but I assume Ravi will be standing somewhere here, speaking to everyone. We'll have these areas roped off over there and down there, and then a bit of mingling as well. You know what we should do? Come over here. Let's go ask Ravi about what he's going to be speaking about. He knows at a high level. Put him on the spot. Completely ad-lib, ad hoc Ravi. Done a bit of the camera's here, oh crap. We've explained what the floor space is going to be used for tomorrow. What are we talking about?
We're talking about the market and strategies to overcome the volatility in the market. Talking all things immigration. Talk about recent.
Is Jono speaking? Is that
recent volatility. He's going to speak.
Does he know that?
Not yet.
Jono.
Hey, Jono, you're going to speak at tomorrow's event as well.
Oh yeah.
There you go. That's the attitude draft.
Oh yeah.
I like it.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty much it.
A little whiteboard teaser.
A whiteboard teaser, yeah.
We should pull that out. Cover it with like a black cloth and be like
Reveal.
Yeah, I reckon there was a summary of your portfolio.
Get that slide.
Yeah, can you send that to me or add it in here, whatever? And then we can have you just overlay whatever you've spoken about in the podcast, but in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Just go through each property basically.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah,
5 minutes. Is that possible?
that's the way.
And we're also going to do Q&A.
And we'll see how he does.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Ravi, how do you feel about our very first in-house
I'm not
seminar?
I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous,
Yeah?
but it's all right. It's going to be good. It's good for my personal development as well. I've never presented to a group of 40 people.
You're gonna do 40.
I want to do great.
You're going to do amazing.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Yeah. Cool.
Beautiful.
Thank you guys. I
All
appreciate
good.
it.
We're excited. Stay tuned for the next one.
Hey, mate.
How'd you go today? We got Ravi just doing some video editing. Stay cautiously optimistic. When Ravi's in his zone, no one disturbs him, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, how was the day today?
I came.
TLDR?
It was good. We did quite a lot of strategy reviews. At least one person coming back from re-engage.
Okay.
Presenting properties to clients as well. So we had one property up in Townsville, WA, regional WA. So they both went ahead with that. One of the clients had been waiting a little while, so he was very happy. And just portfolio plans. Like, I had a few clients send me like their long-term goals, their situation. So helping kind of draft out some 10, 12-year plans for where they could get to in terms of total like property values over that period.
Awesome. Gents, big day on sales today.
Oh, really?
How was it? Well, it sounded like you had a lot of calls. Nath, how'd you go today? I know that it's the evening and done the calls for today, but how'd you go? TLDR.
Bro, pretty good. Just loving life, having good chats.
Fantastic. And George, what about you? How were the conversations today with the customers?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
I feel like I had some good conversations to understand them a bit better, but everyone seemed pretty qualified, which is good.
Awesome. Any interesting questions or scenarios today?
Ooh, yes, actually. Had one client, one person this morning chat to me about them taking money from a sale that they've sold the property in India.
Okay.
And then they wanted to know if they could use that sale, the money from their sale in India from a property to go towards maybe paying down lump sums of the loan that they would take on when they purchase this next property.
Okay.
So I brought in our mortgage brokers to answer that question because I'm not a mortgage broker and I didn't have the knowledge to answer that question, but they got in there and then answered every single thing. So to give the client confidence about what will happen next.
That's awesome. Hey, just being able to tap into
100%. It was really, really good.
You know, the partners that we work with to get
100%.
answers on the fly. That's awesome. Good stuff. All right.
Thanks, bro.
Cheers.
Took 24 months of good growth out of it though. But,
Gents, what are we talking about here? Some suburb research.
we're talking about a property.
We're talking about a property in question that we had an agent reach out to us about.
Okay.
And it's basically a family member, and they obviously trust us a lot more, so they've come straight to us and suggested maybe you guys have a look before we go to market or potentially go out to our own lists that they have.
Okay.
And we're just looking at the data and figuring out if it's worth it.
Okay.
It seems like a property that maybe needs a bit of work.
By the looks of it, I'd say new flooring and maybe a few other little bits.
And is that something that we would do if it needs a bit of work?
Depends. Like, it depends on the client themselves, because there's some clients that will go, look, I just want something that's buy and hold. I don't want to touch anything. But then there's other clients also that will pretty much go, look, I'm happy to do a bit of a renovation if that's 15, 20, 25K, uplift a little bit. Because the benefit they get with an older house as well, you can add that value. But where it comes to like a newer place, you can't really do that straight away. And generally, the older houses also have a bigger parcel of land. So that's also a benefit. But we're just weighing up not just the property itself, but also the location. And you were just mentioning that this particular area has grown quite a lot.
Yeah, it's grown like 80% over the last 3 years. So it's a bit high risk because it's just statistically unlikely that kind of growth will continue.
Okay.
So yeah, I think we.
So what do we think? Whiteboard session to discuss the answer, or?
I don't think we need a whiteboard for this one. I think it's a pretty clear no, but we'll let her know, and yeah, we'll just on to the next one, I suppose, in terms of whatever gives us the best value for clients, and
Awesome.
that's it. All right.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience and the value you bring to the clients that you work with here.
I've been in real estate for 7 years now, mainly focusing in property management. I've had a few little stints here and there in sales and leasing, however mostly in PM. I've come here I think about a month ago. Prior to that I did work around Sydney, around the Hawkesbury and in the Gold Coast. So I've got a pretty broad experience and multiple licenses as well, which always helps. In property management it's very difficult. You deal with a lot of difficult situations, a lot of insurance claims, you have to help people a lot with a lot of finance questions, which we aren't licensed accountants, so we can't give too much advice on, but having that knowledge and having that experience definitely does help in an industry like this, where we are working a lot with mortgages, loans, working out correct yields and purchase prices and negotiating with that as well. I find that a lot of that experience does tie in well with what we're doing here.
And another thing is that you've got the property management experience, which is huge, right? Especially once we've secured the property, because that's when the real work starts. You're doing all the due diligence, you're working with pest and build inspectors. How much of that have you had exposure to? Because I imagine the answer is a lot. But how much have you had exposure to, and how do you think that adds value, I guess, to the clients that you're working with that search property?
Even when it comes to just reviewing the pest and building reports, a lot of the items in there are things that I've dealt with previously. A lot of them I'll know if it's going to be a major issue, if it's just a minor thing, if it's going to be wear and tear, if it's something you need to be concerned about, even just a rough estimate of how much it's going to cost, what trades are going to be involved. So a lot of the maintenance and repair experience I have even with insurance repairs is very helpful when reviewing pest and building reports. So,
and it's massive as well for new clients, right? Because they're coming on board and they might look at pest and build and freak out because they're always going to include everything in there. But a lot of these, because they are existing properties, are going to have items that are wear and tear, right? And it's about differentiating what is wear and tear, what might be major or structural.
Yeah, and a lot of what we focus on as well is what's going to affect tenancy, what's going to cost a lot and what's going to damage the property. Having that experience definitely helps you to understand and explain to clients what are going to be major issues, what's going to leave them out of pocket a huge chunk, and what is actually going to affect the tenants. A lot of times what they're going to be able to claim compensation for as well. It's very good knowing that, because even just providing full access to a property is something that can have a compensation claim involved. So even just knowing the little minor things that you need to have checked and ensure that are functional, just so you have a smooth tenancy transition once you purchase the property.
And how are you finding it here so far?
It's great, I'm loving it. I actually have a work-life balance for once. I haven't worked any weekends, I don't get calls after hours, it's fantastic, and the team is amazing.
Awesome, cool. Let's go. I had a quick chat with Ian. We're jumping in here because we're talking about the event tomorrow. The team's planning. Sorry guys.
Okay, so that t-shirt.
Oh, we wear that shirt?
Yeah, Joe, pretty much what I was telling the guys is I'm going to have Nathan downstairs greeting clients. Luca will be on level 5, directing clients to where the office is. Steph will be at reception. We'll just be floating wherever you want to float to capture.
I was thinking we could do a plan as well of like things I should look out for to capture.
We'll work on that.
Are we doing a dry run at all or not?
A what?
A dry run?
What's that?
Like of the talk?
No, like a just like...
names.
Yeah, we probably don't need it.
Yeah.
I was taking names. We need it.
Harry.
Yeah, wife.
We need a dry run of Luca because...
He'll be at the lifts.
He's at the lifts.
But
Oh,
look,
thank God.
you need
Yeah,
to make
but-
sure the people are coming through. You can't hold them up there.
He's doing the seminar downstairs. Lucas got the clients at the lifts.
That's pretty much it. Just make sure if we attend to the clients, I know there's going to be one waiting over 20-40 people, just to make sure we accommodate and be hospitable for the clients, make sure they've got a drink in their hand. If they're hungry, please help themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of us being floaters, right? Because if Ross is presenting and is focused on that, I think all of us on the ground need to be ensuring that we're engaging with potential clients.
Just everyone needs
Stick-ons for now.
For clients, are we going to write it or are we going to print it?
No, I can print it. Instead of me marking the names off, I give the name tags.
Oh yeah.
So at least that will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's how they do it at the big conferences.
Yeah, that's how we do conferences.
I've been to heaps.
Yeah, I think they do both.
Also, there's going to be a special offer.
Welcome back to the More Than Money podcast. I'm your host, Ravi Sharma, and today's guest has a unique background.
Easier with the options, but almost like
it's too difficult because there's too many options.
Yeah, like the analysis paralysis is huge now. So
Yeah.
like there's Spaceship and Raise and Pearl and Micro and also like Comsec Pocket, and there's like 10 brokers and they're all advertising so much. And there's so many ETFs. There's a new ETF every week popping out. Like there is. I think I mentioned last time it'll just be a longer call running you through a little bit of more. So we're having to look out and see how we can have your ideal outcome, as well as
has been going, which is what's going to be the case with the actual lease. So That is just, the conditions just got to be something like Broadway Group are going to enter with the seller according to REWA or something like that.
Okay, cool. So I'll just let the buyer know that what they've put in the contract, we're just going to void that particular amendment and we're going to enter into a formal lease for 1 month.
Yeah, so essentially the contract stays the same. So technically it'll be under offer when the sellers sign, but then they just need to do a variation, which he just has to initial.
Cool.
He's going to put a new condition in.
So George and Nathan will be downstairs, and I'll have Luca stationed. So when the clients come up, you've got one point of contact to another. The next point of contact will be Luca. After Luca will send them off to this direction.
Yep.
And Steph, you'll be stationed right here. And you'll just mark off the clients' names and just give them their name tag.
Okay.
From there, we'll welcome them here. We're going to have everything set up. Over where Jen is, we're going to have the bar and a waiter.
Okay.
So we'll just direct the
just over
clients.
there,
Yeah, we'll direct the clients right there. Grab a drink.
Yeah.
They'll meet Ravi,
Nice and
Steve, the team, and there'll be obviously food around, which they'll help themselves.
Okay, the catering. Okay, yeah.
Right, clear. Are we excited?
Do we need to help move
so
the catering,
excited.
or will that already be?
No,
sorted
that'll
out?
be all
So the
sorted
guys are going to come in, and those people are going to
Don't
do
worry,
it.
you don't need to
So the only thing you need to do is
Yeah,
direct the
okay.
clients,
Not like
welcome
last
the
time,
clients,
yeah.
and make sure they have a great experience.
Nice. No, looking
Amazing.
forward to
How
this.
exciting!
High five.
I'm so excited.
Nice.
Just the waiting game now. Just got to prep.
Ready really early. So
Yeah.
The pre-game nerves.
Oh, really? And they came cool.
It's like, you know when you invite people to your house, or your parents invite people to your house, and then like you have to clean up the house, and then they're like, oh, yeah, but they're running late. That's what it's like. We just now have to wait. So much good food, but can't even eat it.
Putting the clients first, right?
That's
Always. But to be honest as well, if we run out of food, they're going to get fed so much knowledge that they're going to be full with knowledge.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed.
Jono, anything to add on that?
John is like,
Yeah. You know that.
yes, I concur. Lots of cheese.
lots of cheese.
You know, this was the three of us starting
The inception.
SP 2021. Good
2021.
times. I was in 2020, and then these guys came in 2021. Which good times?
2022.
I was a client in 2021, and then joined right at the end of 2021, 2022. Or something.
This is so weird for me, honestly, because it's great to connect with you. I'm already getting laughs. It's not a comedy show. Come on, guys. Now, look, this is the first time that we're doing anything like this. It's fantastic to see you in person, connect with you guys, because I've been hearing a couple of stories where people have been following me since 2020 when I was in like a shirt, the old like $15, whiteboard. So no, I appreciate it. It's a full circle moment for us. It's the first time that we're hosting it, so I'm sure we're going to make a lot of mistakes. There's stuff that's going to go wrong, and I hope you guys enjoy. But please be kind. We've got a Q&A at the end, so that's going to be where you get to ask me all the easy questions. Let's try and keep them easy because, yeah, you're nice people. Now, before I get started, a couple of housekeeping things. Obviously, if you want to grab a drink or whatever, feel free to just hop over there, grab a drink. Now, in terms of bathrooms, you can head down this way or head down this way, but it's towards the end, right at the end of the corridor, towards the right-hand side. You don't need to ask for permission, so that's good. But yeah, today's session is more about just me sharing my thoughts, a little extended version of what I'm already sort of sharing in the YouTube videos at the moment. But I think there's also a lot of value with you guys coming in, obviously sharing our space as well with you guys. It's a good chance for us to, connect with you as people, because at the end of the day, I sit in a room by myself and see one camera and I record and hope that there's people that watch me. So it's fantastic that you guys have come out. Obviously, there's plenty of people from the team as well, and you can connect with them, ask questions, feel free to ask anything. Yeah, we're open books. Awesome. Anything else? No, we're good? All right, awesome. All right, so we've done the mingling and the food and drinks, which is good. Now we'll jump into a little bit about the strategy. Just want to cover off a couple of things. Now, just show of hands, how many people have been watching the channel since 2020? So when I started. Okay, cool. You don't have to be shy, it's okay. Show of hands since 2021, just so I can read the room as to, yeah, okay. And then anyone that's sort of followed in the last sort of 6 months or randomly seen me come up. Okay, cool. Amazing. All right, sweet. And then, yeah, we'll finish up with Q&A. I've also got Jono. If you haven't seen his video, I was about to just go straight into the YouTube script there, but it's so natural. Yeah, you see a link up here. Jono will also jump on and he'll share his story as well a little bit around how he's, built out his portfolio and wealth of knowledge, because he's been through where you guys are sitting, as a client, and then obviously he works here as well. So let's jump into it. That's done, and that's where we're at. So I guess the hot topic at the moment is what happens with interest rates, and I apologize for people in the back, you might not be able to see all this. I promise with the funding that we get, we'll get a bigger TV, which should be nicer. But the hot topic at the moment is all about interest rates. Everyone's talking about, are interest rates going to go up? Are they going to go down? What does that mean for property prices? I think it's a good way to see what everyone else is thinking, because we're all in the room at the same time. So you can have a look around as well when I ask this question, but how many people think that interest rates are going to go up in the next sort of 3 to 6 months? Feel free to, yep, so we've got one. Okay, so, how many people think that rates are going to go down in the next 6 months? Holy shit. All right, cool. I like it. Well, look, I'm in the camp of they probably head down, right? Now, I'm no way predicting, and I'm not an economist, but there's a lot of things that we get insights with, whether it's our partners working in banks, whether it's mortgage brokers. Kevin, what's up? You mentioned that rates were cutting as well, so I'm going to blame you. But this is the sort of news that's coming out at the moment. We've got big banks already prepping for it, and they do that by cutting their deposit rates. So the way that works, and again, if you have any sort of questions, we'll answer them at the end. But with deposit rates, essentially the way that you've got to think about this is people are incentivized to keep their money locked up in a bank because they're getting a yield. So if I've got 5% that I can earn risk-free, really, at the bank, why would I now go into the share market? Why would I go buy a property? I'm just going to leave it in the bank, right? That means it slows down the entire economy because there's more money getting sucked out and it sits in the bank, in a bank account, that's it. What we're seeing now is the opposite. So everything we saw for the last couple of years, we're going to see the opposite play out. Inflation's heading the other way. Interest rates will start cutting. You start having a lot of this conversations around banks prepping for cuts, and that's exactly what they're doing. So deposit rates plays a huge part in this, because if they feel like they need to reignite the economy, one of the ways that they can do that is by reducing those deposit rates, and it incentivizes people to go, okay, well, I'm not getting a yield now at the bank. So instead of me keeping it in the bank, now I need to start putting it to work out in the economy. And that might be in hard assets, it might be in businesses, and they will usually spend their money too. We also see that with interest rates. So your home loans, right? Obviously, we've gone through a lot of pain over the last couple of months where you see interest rates being at 6.5%. People are just trying to pay their bills, right? If you've got investment properties or you've got your own principal place of residence, you're essentially just trying to survive. Once those rates start cutting, you start having a bit more money to be able to spend in the economy. So you start having, people go out a little bit more. You start having people go and spend money at the cafes, the restaurants, and that starts reigniting the economy. Suddenly the business or the cafe that's around the corner is suddenly going, hey, we've got so many more people here, we need to hire staff. Staff come in, more jobs are created, and now you reignite the economy, okay? That's essentially what's happening at the moment. Banks are starting to prep. It doesn't matter what the RBA will actually do. This is something to keep in mind, because when interest rates were going up, right, by the RBA, if they went up by 25 basis points, what were the banks doing? Go up by 35 basis points, go up by 40. Then suddenly when they paused, the banks kept increasing, right? So that's a similar thing to what we're seeing now. Now, why would interest rates start cutting? Or why do we expect interest rates to cut? Do we think inflation's going down? Just a show of hands. Do we think inflation's going down? Or no one thinks it's going down? Are we thinking, yeah, okay, cool. Do we think it's going up? Do we still have an inflation problem? Show of hands? Okay, cool. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time with this and nerd it all out. but essentially this is from the RBA's website. So you can just type in RBA rate tracker. It'll pretty much tell you what the interbank cash rate futures implied yield curve is. Okay. What this essentially means is that the market is pricing in that this is where we are supposed to be, which is exactly what it is. Now, what we saw during the hiking cycle is we would have seen this go the opposite way. So it would have started around here and it goes up like that. Now what we're seeing is that they're expecting that rates will be much lower over the next 18 to 24 months. Now, the reason I'm talking about this sort of stuff is because it sets the scene for what we're going to have to strategize for. You can't just go, oh, well, I'm thinking that interest rates are going to go down. Once they start cutting, that's when I start making my moves. The reason why you're here is because you want to make moves ahead of the market. Now, you don't need to be the first person to jump. All you need to be is in the first 5% or 10% of the market. The fact that you're here on a Thursday, today's Thursday, right? Yeah, the fact that you're here on a Thursday night means that you're also going, I'm taking this stuff seriously. I want to go out there and make moves before the mass market come. Now, the insights that we can share, and I'm sure you've spoken to a couple of people in the team, is that we're finding there are a lot more inquiries now than there were 3 months ago and than there were 6 months ago. Now, I could go on to say that my YouTube videos have become so good that that's the reason why, but it's actually not. And I'd love to take that credit, but it's not the case. The fact is the macro market is changing. And there's a graph that I'm going to show you a little bit later that is now very popular, which is the 18.6 year cycle. But before we jump into that, this is what inflation is in Australia. Now, I'm not going to bore you with the details of what inflation is, but the best way to share this example is I went to KFC last week, and I promise I actually did. And when you go there, for the same price, if not more, you're paying for a burger. The burger's smaller and you're paying so much more, okay? The cost of living is going higher. You guys all know it. You go to Woolies, you're all experiencing it, okay? So what this means is we were around here when it came to the pandemic, the COVID lockdowns, everything slowed down. And what we saw after that was all this inflation that comes into the system. Now, some people will go on to say that it was because there was a shortage of food and supplies. Some others will go on to say that there was shipping issues, shipping containers weren't coming. There's a range of those factors. But the main thing you need to take away from this is that we've gone up, and during this period, we had interest rates going higher because we need to slow down the economy. Once you slow down the economy, inflation should follow. Once interest rates got to their peak, guess what? Inflation starts dropping as well because now you started sucking out all this money out of the system. Once you slow down the economy, sometimes it takes longer than other times. You've also got some central banks like the RBA that may think ahead of the curve, or they might go, well, no, we have no problems here. Now, the best way to understand how much of an issue this could become if they don't start cutting rates is that what they look at is just this part. They go, okay, well, we're still above 3%. Our target's 2 to 3%. That's all I want to know, okay? But it's like asking, I'm going to try and find an example on the fly, but if you saw me, right, and I weigh about 80 kilos, and I said, okay, well, I've been training, right? I don't know where this is going, but we'll stick with it. Now, I've been training, and you go, okay, it doesn't look like you're training. But if I then told you context, I was 110 kilos, which I wasn't, but if I was 110 kilos and now I'm 80, you'd be like, that's fantastic. Yeah, well done, right? Context is key. And what I'm saying is, although this number here is closer to 3.5%, what you need to know is where it's come from. So understanding the pre-story is understanding where we could start heading. So when you start looking at what the RBA was actually doing during this time, we've seen interest rates go up, well, this is inflation. Inflation goes up, and then once we're finally here, they go, oh shit, we better start increasing interest rates because inflation's a problem. Okay, great. But guess what? The moves that you make here when it comes to interest rate hikes, they do pretty much jack shit. When the inflation's dropping like this and you start cutting by 0.25%, it does jack shit. Because look at these moves, they're very extreme, they're volatile. What the economy is meant to be is this. A targeted band moves slowly up and down. But when you go out and you lock down the entire economy, there's going to be effects, right? And that's exactly what we've seen. They plug in so much money, but it's like thinking about taking out toothpaste out of your toothpaste tube and then trying to put it back in. It's not going to work. And that's exactly what's happening right now. So when you think about interest rates, just know that the media will like to complicate things. They might want to focus on one metric at a time, and they'll tell you, well, no, interest rates are going to continue going higher. They're going to go up in a couple of months because look, inflation's so high. But if I now told you we're at 7 or 8% and now we're at 3.5%, and it happened over the period of like less than 12 months, that to me is scary. Now, there's always opportunities. That's the biggest thing I want you to take away from tonight, is that whether the market's going to... But for everyone else, thank you again, and yeah, hopefully see you guys soon. Come check this out. So this is our famous wall, and it's got a bunch of reviews. It actually means a lot to our team because some people might think it's gimmicky, but the reality is that whenever we come into work, it's the first thing we see, and we get to check out like some of the stuff that people have said. Been a pleasure working with Lauren from the search property team. This one's a great one. I followed Ravi's channels for 3 years, which is phenomenal, and then being able to like actually buy property with us. So we often find that people come here, if they're having tea or whatever, they'll come and stand and whatnot. Super rewarding when you get to see this sort of stuff. But what's more rewarding than this is when we actually get to have face-to-face interaction with you guys. And so we actually held that seminar, and you've obviously seen what it's looked like. And I just wanted to share with you what I guess the feedback was. We really enjoyed meeting a lot of you guys. Thank you so much for coming out. Obviously the one that we had was in Sydney, in the office, but now we are looking at potentially doing more around Australia. But we might go back and do another one in Sydney, given that there was quite a few people that didn't get the chance to actually, attend and whatnot. It was super rewarding, but the overall message from the seminar, or at least the key takeaway for me, was there's real people watching this channel. There's you guys that are watching, and for me, I get to hang out with everyone that works here at Search Property, but what's crazy is that I don't get the chance to meet you guys who've been following the channel for like a year, 2 years, or 3 years. And so, yeah, it's been such a rewarding experience to have caught up with a lot of you guys. If you were there, let me know in the comments down below. You guys are the true OG fans if you're watching all the way through. It's a long vlog, I know, but hopefully it's given you a bit more of an idea as to how much this means to us. It truly comes from a place of passion, truly comes from a place of trying to help as many people as possible. So if you're new here, smash that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks, guys.